Well, today I'm in Kansas, and I'm heading to see an area that has always intrigued me ever since I guess I saw the movie first, probably I think I saw the movie in the 70s. The movie I'm talking about is In Cold Blood. It was a book by Truman Capote, and it's about the Clutter family murders, where a family of four was murdered by Perry Smith and Richard Hickok. So we're going to take a look at the filming sites and also the actual places that it happened, which are about 95% the same. In other words, they did all the filming in exactly the same locations that everything happened, and that's pretty much, I mean, that's almost true for every scene that you see in the movie. So come along with me. Okay, this is Edgerton, Kansas, and this is at the beginning of the film In Cold Blood. This shot right here is seen. You can see this house in the background, and you also see this telephone pole with a sign that says Edgerton on it. This is the town that Dick Hickok lived in, and Dick and Perry were prison mates when they were in the penitentiary, and they hatched a plan to go in and rob the Clutters in Holcomb, Kansas. And this is where it all kind of started out. He starts driving to pick up Dick starts driving to pick up Perry, and this is on the eastern side of Kansas, and they're going to end up driving across Kansas to more of a westerly side. But this is that house you see in the background, and this telephone pole is where the sign that says Edgerton is. Now, all of this stuff is just dead on as far as the filming of it. A lot of times you'll see these Hollywood productions use sound stages and do things in towns that really aren't where they happen. But all of this is, as far as I can tell, about 95% in exactly the same streets, the exact same spots that it happened in. Now we're in downtown Emporia, Kansas. This is the next place that they went. This is where the hardware store stood, and where you see them buying the twine and duct tape and stuff that they're going to use to take care of the Clutters. And it actually set right here in this location. There's something else here now, but as they walk out, you can see this building through the glass, and you can also see a J.C. Penney that's right down there. The name it says Bourbon Cowboy now, but that was where the J.C. Penney is, and you could actually see that through the glass too. They come out and get in their car right here, and then they drive down this way. Then they come to this intersection, and there's a stoplight here, and there's some nuns that walk across the street right here, and he makes a comment about something about why he doesn't like nuns. And you can see these buildings in the background right here. And just for a little more backstory on this murder, they Perry Smith and Dick Hickok got the information from another inmate of theirs that Mr. Clutter actually had a safe in his house, and there was supposed to be like $10,000 worth of money in it, or valuables. I don't know if it's all money, but that was the whole premise of them robbing Mr. Clutter and his family, and then their plan was to take off to Mexico and live happily ever after. Once they finished in Emporia, they ended up, after they bought all the supplies they need, they hit the highway and started driving towards Holcomb, Kansas, which for me driving it right now, my GPS says that it was 4.5 hours. So back then it would have been a lot longer, and they ended up arriving there that night, the night that the murders take place. It takes place in November. It escapes me exactly what the date was. For some reason I'm thinking like the 17th of November, but I may be wrong. Well, when Richard Hickok and Perry Smith get to Garden City, they pull in here and get gas at this Sinclair station. It's actually a Sinclair. It's a tire shop now, but it looks just identical as it did then. I mean, almost a big portion of this, all this rock here is the same. Looks like the interior's been changed a little bit, but I mean, it's a cinder block building on the inside, and you see Dick Hickok inside here talking, and then you see Perry Smith, who's played by Robert Blake, come around here to this door here and go in the men's bathroom. And as they drive into Holcomb, they come to this intersection and make a left. This is called Hartman's Cafe at the time, and it looks basically the same. There's a little bit of an overhang that was on the right hand side there that's not there anymore. I think there's also some shots of Alvin Dewey actually being inside here drinking a cup of coffee, and the townsfolk asking about the murder and stuff. But they make a left right here and drive down this street, which is Main Street. Now in the movie you'll see them drive across these railroad tracks, and it's dark, and you can see this railroad crossing right here, and you can see this blue house in the background.
Turn left on East Railroad Avenue.
And they continue straight down this road. Now they turned down this road, which is Oak Avenue, and drove all the way to the end of it. And it's actually private property, so I can't go down there. It's a drive. But this is the tree-lined street that they drove down that night. And you can see the house. I'll try to zoom in. You see the house way back over there. So this is where it all happened, and in the movie they shoot all the scenes right here. Kind of a eerie thing. Now, this is the Finney County Courthouse. This is actually where the two killers were taken to be, once they were captured, this is where they were actually tried. And this is where the people that were pursuing them, a guy named Alvin Dewey, he actually had, he was with the Kansas Bureau of Investigations, and he actually had somewhat of an office in here that they had set up for him. But once they're caught on the movie In Cold Blood, you can actually see them turn in right here, and they drive in this direction. And you can see that building right there in the background. They actually pull in on the side of the building, and you see them get out and escort them into the courthouse. And there's also some pictures online. There's a few pictures of them actually sitting in the courtroom and actually walking to court. I don't know if the jail must be fairly adjacent to this. I'm just not sure. Maybe they were housed inside here, I don't know. This is where Truman Capote spent some time. I think there's some pictures of him out in front of this courthouse. This is about the shot where the camera was in the movie, and you can see that building right there in the background, and they pull right in here and park. Well, this is Valley View Cemetery in Garden City, Kansas, and this is where the end result of that night of crime left the Clutter family. They're all buried right here together. See Nancy, the daughter, is buried right here. Bonnie Mae, the mother's buried right there, and Herb. And then Kenyon is buried right here. Such a sad thing to think that this family, all their dreams and stuff were cut short because of two degenerate criminals that didn't value another person's life. There's been a lot made about this through Truman Capote and his book, and I'm sure a lot of people have visited this, and I think we focus on more of the crime than the people. And this was a family. There would have been 6 that were killed if the 2 older daughters had been there, but they were, I think one of them was married and one of them was in college. Don't quote me on that, but they were not there. And it's really a sad thing to think that happened to this upstanding family. I guess Herb was some type of farmer. I'm not sure. I don't know if he raised cattle. I don't think it was row crops that he raised. But all that was cut short that night. Now, the guy that was in charge of the investigation that ultimately led to their capture is a guy named Alvin Dewey. And had it not been for when they got picked up in Las Vegas, if they had not have stopped at the bus station to pick up a package that they had shipped to themselves that had the boots that were worn that night, because they had a bloody footprint. They would have probably not been able to convict them of this crime. But the guy that was in charge of that and that went to pick them up and did all the legwork and carried out the investigation was a guy named Alvin Dewey. And he died in '87. Lies here with his wife. And he's not buried very far from the Clutters. The Clutters are buried just probably 100 yards from here, right kind of where the center of the camera is there. So he's laid to rest fairly close to one of the most famous murders in history, and he was the one involved in solving it. Now I'm inside the museum in Garden City. It's a really nice museum, and they've got a whole bunch of stuff laid out from that the Clutter crime scene. Pictures and a timeline. This is showing a picture of the house, and it kind of runs through the timeline of it. There's a picture. This is a dress that Nancy Clutter wore, the daughter that was killed. She was notorious for making her own clothes. You can see a picture of the funeral, how many people were at the funeral. Newspaper clippings from that time. This safe is from the courthouse that we visited earlier, and this is where they housed all the evidence from the actual crime scene. There's the jurors, there's the courthouse that we visited, and some shackles that were used, and there's some actual pictures of them in the courtroom, their mug shots. Now here's the interesting thing. This is the actual boot that got them all caught. That's the footprint of the boot and the actual boot. That was a strange feeling to sit there and look at that boot and be that close to it. This is a dress that was worn by the main investigator, Alvin Dewey's wife, to a ball that Truman Capote had. It's called the Black and White Ball. And Alvin and his wife, Marie, went to that. And here's some more clippings. Thank you so much for watching.